Let's use AI to analyze the Project 2025 document and better understand what's in it and how it might impact you and your loved ones. Specifically, we're going to create a custom GPT using OpenAI tooling, and it's actually really easy to do. So first I'm going to kind of walk through what the custom GPT looks like. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to do it, and then I'm going to hand it over to you. Go make your own and have fun with it. Quick note before I dive in, I am focusing on the Project 2025 document, but I think this type of tooling, this type of analysis, really should be used for any political documents, any proposed policy. I 100% plan on doing the exact same thing for Kamala Harris if and when she does release a kind of tidied up PDF that I can put into a custom GPT. I hope that she does because I want to do the same thing. I also plan on doing the same thing for Agenda 47, which is Donald Trump's official agenda. Um, but I stuck with Project 2025 because one, there's a convenient PDF that we can use and it makes it really easy to build one of these tools. And two, it's really long. It's a 922 page document. So it's a little bit hard, or at least it takes a while to read through it yourself. So this is kind of a perfect use case for using AI, using large language models to do a lot of the analysis and summarization work for us so that we can more quickly scan and understand the key points in a large document like that. Okay, so here's what it looks like. This is what we're going to be building. This already exists, and I'll put up a URL where you can access it, or I'll put it in the description of the video. So it's already live, and you can play with it. It's called Chat Project 2025. So this is a custom GPT that I made, and you do have to have an OpenAI account, a ChatGPT account, and it has to be a paid account. So I'm actually working with some developers to potentially make this free, but it will require some build out. But for now, you can access it with a paid ChatGPT subscription. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to ask one of the default questions, and that's how do Project 2025 policies impact the environment and climate initiatives? And so here's what it outputs. First, I have it giving me a summary. It says Project 2025 proposes a significant shift in U.S. environmental and climate policies, primarily focusing on scaling back climate initiatives and regulations, and so on. And then I have it outlining some more specific details. So, rollback of climate initiatives. Here's some details there. I have it pulling a direct quote for each of these details, as well as citing the section of the document that that quote came from. So this is particularly useful because you can find one of these details that you think is interesting, find a reference quote, and then actually search in the document either for this section or search for this particular quote in the document to go read it in context, which I think is just yet another step of kind of really understanding what's being said here. And so it lists a handful of ways that Project 2025 can affect or might affect climate initiatives. Lastly, I have it suggesting some follow-up questions as well as suggesting some alternate topics to explore. So this one here says, how might the proposed rollback of environmental regulations impact air and quality in the US? So if you want to dive a little deeper into this topic, here's some suggestions. And then if you want to just change gears, you can use one of these. Another topic could be the economic implications of the Project 2025 energy policies. I put this in here because I think half the battle in using large language models is knowing what questions to ask. And the more valuable the question, the more valuable the output. So I think when I've observed people using ChatGPT and other LLMs, a lot of times they can get kind of a little tripped up or hesitant on what to ask. So this is why I put this in here, just to kind of keep the ideas flowing and really motivate people to keep diving deeper. But just to round out the demo, you don't actually have to use one of these questions. You're certainly welcome to copy and paste it, or you can just ask another question. Um, how is Donald Trump connected to project 2025, if at all. And so it's going to do the same thing. It's going to read the document that I've uploaded and give me an output. Donald Trump is connected to Project 2025 primarily through his previous administration's policies and the involvement of several of his former officials and advisors, and so on and so forth. So that's what we're going to be building. And again, this is good for Project 2025. It's good for any document. It's good for any political document, any proposed policies that you might want to have an AI tool on hand to help you analyze it. A little bit of context and brief history here. The reason I'm making this video right now is because I actually made a TikTok on this exact same thing. This is Project 2025. So in this TikTok, I'm very quickly talking about this GPT that I just showed you and kind of how it works. And it got a lot of attention. So tons of comments here. Really, really cool to see the excitement. For my channel, this is a really it's performed well, right? Like people, it's been very well received. A lot of views, a lot of hearts, a lot of comments, a lot of shares. And in the comments, I probably won't be able to pick one out because there's too many here. But several people asked if I would make a tutorial on how to do this. And I thought that was a great idea. So, of course, you're more than welcome to just use this one that already exists. But more power to you if you want to go out and make your own for Project 2025 or some other documents. Please do. So that's a little bit of backstory and why I'm making this video. All right, so let's dive into it. Oh, I also was going to mention, this is kind of cool to see. So when you make a custom GPT, OpenAI actually gives you, I wouldn't say a lot of analytics, but it gives you a tiny little bit of usage data. And it's kind of cool to see. This is the one that I made recently that I just showed you. And there's already been over 1,000 conversations that have taken place in it. And it's been live for a couple of days. So there's some real usage happening there. And that's just really motivating for me. And that's another reason why I'm making this video. Okay, so let's get into the tutorial. So first thing you want to do, make your ChatGPT account if you haven't already. Like I said, at least today, you have to be a paid subscriber. It's $20 a month. I've already logged in to ChatGPT. On here on the left, open up the sidebar, click Explore GPTs. That's what they're called. I was calling it custom GPT. I think they're just calling them GPTs now. You can actually see a ton of different GPTs that are available in the marketplace, which is kind of cool. But what we're going to focus on is we're going to create our own, right? And what this allows you to do, they have this little kind of helper wizard here. You could, describe what you want in here. I don't really use this. I just go straight to the configure. So I toggle over to here and let's give it a name. So tutorial chat project 2025. The description is what shows up under it. This is a test GPT made during a tutorial video. Instructions, I'll get into that in just a bit because that's a little bit more involved. Conversation starters are these pieces right here. So these sort of preloaded questions just to kind of get the conversation going. That's what the conversation starters are. So in this case, how might Project 2025 impact climate goals? And you can just add as many as you want, and they'll just keep showing up. Knowledge. Okay, so this is a pretty critical part, and we're actually going to go download the Project 2025 document, the 922-page PDF, and upload it into the knowledge base. And so what's happening when you make a GPT is you already have GPT 4 or 3.5 or whatever you're using, whatever model you're using, that's already available in the GPT, and you're supplementing it with additional knowledge. And what happens is when you prompt it, when you infer the model, it first goes and reads the knowledge base, whatever files you've uploaded, to get more specific context on what you're asking, and then it answers the question. So it kind of blends together your knowledge base with the powers of GPT-4 that are already available. It's pretty cool. Okay, so let's hop over to, this is project2025.org. And if you go to their policy page, they have they call it a mandate. So they have the mandate right here. And so this is all 922 pages, really, really long. And you can just download it. And then we're going to hop back over to ChatGPT, click upload file, find the document, there we go, upload that. Okay, looks like it's done. Capabilities down here, these are some extra tools that ChatGPT already has baked in, and you can kind of just check these on or off. Um, I think we should definitely have web browsing, because if I ask this custom GPT a question and it cannot answer it using the document that I've uploaded, I want it to then go search the web to see if it can find some more information. So I'm going to keep that one checked on. DALL-E image generation, sure, why not? I mean, I think it's not necessarily what I will use this GPT for, but someone else might want to generate images based on some of the policies in there. Code interpreter and data analysis allows the GPT to run code, write code, and run code. Yeah, sure, why not? We're going to skip actions, and then you can determine whether or not the conversation data flows back over to OpenAI for them to improve their models. Okay, so let's talk about the instructions now. I'm just going to grab the instructions that I already have in this GPT because they're pretty well written. Okay, so I grabbed the instructions and I'm going to paste those in here. And let's read through this. This is really where a lot of the magic happens. This is kind of where your prompt engineering, your prompt designing happens right here, and it's really critical that you are very mindful and very thoughtful about the instructions that you provide to the GPT. This is also where you end up iterating the most. So the general workflow is, if I just take this out, I might, before I even put instructions in here, I might ask it a question just to see how it behaves. It already has the file uploaded, but it doesn't have any instructions. Um, and so it's already doing a pretty good job. Like, it already knows to read the file and then generate an output based on the knowledge set that's been provided. And so this looks pretty good, right? If I add some instructions, it'll change the output, and so that's being uploaded right now. Once that saves, I'm going to ask the same question, and here's the layout of the previous output. You'll see it's just going to look a little bit different, and it's actually, in my opinion, going to be better information. It's going to be more readable because I've kind of thought a lot about how to outline this and provide direct quotes and citations and things like that. You're not going to get that out of the box unless you actually ask for it in the instructions, right? And so also these follow-up questions and additional topics, you're not going to get that out of the box. It's not here, right? Unless you actually ask for it in the instructions. So let's read through these. You are a researcher and summarization assistant. So first thing you're doing is just telling GPT what it is, how it should behave, how it should think about its role. And then I'm telling it a little bit about the file that I uploaded. In your knowledge base, a file has been uploaded called, this is the actual name of the file, 2025 Mandate for Leadership. This file contains an outline for a political policy called Project 2025. So I'm just naming I'm connecting the file with the name Project 2025 so that it knows if it gets asked about that project, go read that file. When asked a question, first search your knowledge base. Always start with the knowledge base. That's what I want it to do. If you cannot find an answer, then use web browsing. So a little bit of prioritization there in terms of how to use its own tool set. Guidelines for providing answers in a bulleted list. Always cite the section you are referring to in the document. Maintain an unbiased and factual position. I think this is really critical. You can always ask the model to give me a conservative viewpoint, a progressive viewpoint on whatever policy is being analyzed. It will do that for you. You can ask it to give me a viewpoint from the perspective of Adam Smith or Karl Marx, it will do that for you as well. But by default, I really want the model to be as unbiased and factual as possible. When possible, try to help the user understand how they and their loved ones might be personally affected. I think this is really important. That's kind of the whole point of a tool like this. People should be able to quickly find a topic or a policy in this very large document and get a little bit of guidance on how they might be impacted by it, right? That's really what we're trying to accomplish here. And so the next section of the prompt is me giving it a format. And this is really helpful, and I think it's really important. If you want a particular format, you got to tell it how it should output that format. So the 3 ticks just kind of notates the beginning and the end of the format. If you're a developer, you've probably seen notation like this. This is also Markdown. I'm using Markdown notation. So some keywords for you to Google if you're not familiar with that. But so I have a summary at the top, and then in these brackets, this is basically notating that it's variable. Don't literally print this for me, but what you're going to do in the summary is summarize findings no more than 3 sentences, right? Draw a line there, which it's actually doing, which is cool. Little line right there. And then next, give me details. And that's going to be a list of detailed answers, include a title and details. Note, optimized for readability. Note, always include a quote with citations to section and page. Another line break. And then here's the suggested follow-up questions, 3 suggested follow-up questions to dig deeper into the current topic. Alternate topics to explore, 3 suggested alternate topics to explore. And then, so that's the end of the kind of general layout that I want. Now I give it format for the details list because, and this is, you're kind of seeing how I iterated on this prompt on the instructions. It was not getting the details laid out the way I wanted it to. So I had to go back in and give it more specific instructions on, okay, you did a pretty good job, but I need the details list to look a certain way. So first you're going to give me the title for each detail, followed by a paragraph providing that detail. Then in bold, print the words direct quote, and then pull a direct quote from the document, including section title and page number. Last thing you're going to see here is an example of a detail entry. This is super, super helpful. GPT does a lot better with formatting and layout if you first guide it generally, but then give it a specific example of how you actually want it to look. And so the way that I got this text right here is as I was iterating, as I was playing around with the GPT, one of the times it actually output it just right. I was like, that's perfect. That's what I want it to look like every time. So I just copied that and put it in here. That way it's codified, right? It's always in the prompt. It did it that one time, but it's not going to always do it that way unless you tell it. So gives me a title, gives me a paragraph, direct quote, and then it has right here context with the section and the number, page number. So that is the entirety of the prompt. And that's pretty much it. So after that, all you need to do is click create. And then I'm just going to keep this one private because it's a duplicate and click save. If you want it to be available for anyone, you would publish it to the GPT Store. That would make it public. If you want to only share it by link, you could use anyone with link, of course. It gives you the link right here. I'm just going to view the GPT. So here we are, tutorial, Chat Project 2025. This should more or less look exactly like the demo that we looked at initially. Oh, this is interesting. Response 1, response 2. I wonder if it's going to let me pick which one I like more. Probably will. And if that's the case, this is response 1, response 2. This is some A/B testing that OpenAI is doing, which is pretty interesting. I don't typically see this, but I'm just going to pick response 2. Yeah, that's some A/B testing that they're doing. And so there you have it, folks. I would say to you, go out, make some custom GPTs. If you do, then drop a comment on this video and give me a link to your GPT and tell me what file you put into it, what sort of goals do you have for making it, what policies are you trying to analyze, what are you trying to understand. I think tools like this can really be helpful, especially during this election cycle. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of long documents that not everyone has time to read. So let's use the powers of large language models to help us out a bit and get smarter a little bit faster and more informed a little bit more quickly. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll catch you later. Peace.